if you're new to Rainforest Alberta, drop an emoji and stuff, and maybe a little description and your LinkedIn in the chat, and people kind of connect with you and meet you. And if you're a long time Lunch Without Lunch enjoyer, you're also welcome to kind of talk about what you're doing right now, what you're excited about, or challenges that you're having kind of in the tech space. So yeah, I guess I'll just start out with a land acknowledgement. So I'm currently located in Calgary. If you have a land acknowledgement you'd like to make from another part of the province or another part of Canada even, you're welcome to share it with us, and we'd be happy to facilitate that and help you kind of do that land acknowledgement. So in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, and Piikani, and Tsuut'ina, and I don't know how to pronounce that one, Iaksa Nakota Nations, the Métis Nations, Region 3, and all the people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. After that, I'm going to try to play the video. There might be no audio for the video, so, you're just going to have to read the captions. But, yeah, here it goes. All right. So yeah, I guess if you haven't had a chance to sign the social contract yet, you can follow that link, and or you can scan the QR code on my shirt. It's totally gonna work through a video.
Stay still for a minute.
Stay still. Yeah. Just spread the back. All right.
Okay, got it.
There. Somebody got it. All right, perfect. I thought it was amusing that they put QR codes on the back, but hey, is what it is. But yeah, so we use 6 pillars to guide our conversation and actions, and not all are weighted equally. So you can kind of see the breakdown of how we weight them. But yeah, like any ecosystem, the balance of kind of the different pillars are very important, and doing a regular kind of reflection and assessment of them is something that we do and try to figure out where we need to put more energy and stuff like that. But yeah, so tips to making the most out of Lunch Without Lunch. Introduce yourself in the chat, what you're working on, what you're looking for, what kind of information you kind of need, or what kind of friends you're looking to make. Connect with individuals through DM. So within Zoom, you can actually direct message people. So if you have a question directly for somebody, or want to just kind of connect with somebody, you can share it directly with them, or you can connect on LinkedIn and message through there. We advise you to put your camera on. I totally understand the feeling of kind of being strange in an online room. I guess I did a lot of my education online, and so at first it's a little bit strange, but just know that there's tons of people with their camera on. You're not the only person people are looking at. I've been in rooms of like 30 people and I was the only person with my camera on, and that feels strange. But yeah, lots of friendly faces here. So turn your camera on, say hi. Ask questions that lead with curiosity rather than offering advice. So yeah, kind of let curiosity be the driving factor in your interactions. And yeah, check out the lunch notes for the capture of today's chat. It'll be on Slack. And the Lunch Without Lunch recordings are posted on YouTube. So if there's something that we're talking about in the presentation that goes a little too fast, you can check it out there. Here's a better URL link to the social contract. I encourage everybody to kind of sign it and follow its principles and the way you interact with people in life. And yeah, I guess little Inkly plug, I think. Yeah, so this is the Inkly plug. So Inkly is our another digital kind of space that we have. That's our like question and answers platform, I would say. Basically a great like Q&A platform, and it connects you with people that can best answer your questions. So if you have any kind of weird questions, it's a good place to ask them as well, because you can actually ask anonymously. So if there's something that you don't really feel comfortable attaching your name to, but you want to ask a question, whether it's on investments or getting funding and stuff like that, it's a really great place where we can kind of tap into the resources of the community that we have and get some really great answers. I've asked a few questions on there myself, and it's been really insightful. So yeah, I guess without further ado, that's my presentation stuff. Yeah, so today I'm super excited to introduce Sean Thomas. And I guess he's the director of the Technology Access Center for Livestock Production, or the TAC-LP. I don't know how you'd say that acronym, but yeah. In his current role, Sean provides oversight to operations conducted by the TAC-LP with emphasis on technical advisory, product management, and maintaining client relationships. And the TAC-LP is the Technology Access Center for Livestock Production. So they offer resources and services to move the livestock industry technology forward. And they do this kind of by focusing on all aspects of the livestock industry, from feed to processing. And I guess I was super excited about this presentation today because I actually grew up on a ranch raising cattle. I guess we had 300 head of cattle. And so I kind of spent the early years of my life working with cows. And so, yeah, really excited to see what Thomas has to share. Mr. Thomas. But yeah, I guess I'm going to pass it over to you. Do you want to try screen share and such?
Sure. Thanks for the introduction. Minor correction, Sean Thompson. But don't worry, you're not
Thompson.
the first person to call me Sean Thomas.
That's great.
No, thanks for the introduction, and thanks everyone for putting some of your information in the chat. So as a newbie here, it's good to see kind of who's here and what kind of industries or sectors are going to be taking this in. So as you mentioned, I'm the director of our Technology Access Center here at Olds College, obviously based out of Olds. We're in central Alberta, but really cater to Alberta as a whole, but also Canada in the livestock sector. And so livestock, for those of you who come from an agriculture background, it's not all livestock. We don't do dairy, we don't do swine, poultry, that sort of thing. Our focus is what we have here at the college, so it's beef, cattle, and sheep. And so that's what we focus on in all aspects of tech validation, best management practices, working with students, working with clients on simple fee-for-service bases or larger applied research projects. And so rather than go through a slide deck, I wanted to incorporate more than just me talking. And it just so happens that we've just recently commissioned a marketing video that focuses on us, but also broader than us. Some of I think 3 research projects are highlighted, and then a few clients of ours that we've worked with or are working with. And so I thought this would be a perfect place to have its first inaugural view by this group. And so I'll try to share my screen here, and then there'll be lots of time afterwards to ask questions. So you can let me know.
When you're doing the screen share, just make sure that little like tick box in the bottom left that says share audio. Maybe it'll work.
Yes. So I can't see you guys now, but are you seeing my desktop here?
Yep. See your desktop there.
Okay. And now do you see a video?
Yep.
Okay. So let me know if the sound doesn't come through, and then I can try to change things, but let's cross our fingers.
We do have to be thinking 5 and 10 years ahead. not just what industry needs right now, so that we are positioning the new products and services and innovations, as well as the next educated working force being able to access, the latest as they're learning in their programs and then taking that out into the workforce once they graduate. Olds College of Agriculture and Technology is very focused on advancing agriculture for a better world. Within the research division of the college, we are focused on accelerating the development and adoption of technologies and practices that advance ag and improve productivity, profitability, and sustainability for food security worldwide. Olds College of Ag and Technology has been compared to Silicon Valley, actually. The biggest challenges that ag tech adoption is facing is that every farmer or every rancher, or every person who's going to utilize that technology or tool might use it slightly differently, because every farm is different. There's a lot of innovators in the ag tech space, maybe didn't come from a farm or have never even set foot on a farm, but they have some really great technical knowledge and technical ideas that will help ag, but without having that understanding of how it's really going to be used in a real working farm is almost always doomed.
So I'm the director of our Technology Access Center for Livestock Production at Olds College. Our Technology Access Center, it's funded through NSERC on 5-year funding terms. We were established in 2016. We serve as a resource for the livestock industry in beef, cattle, and sheep. We offer access to expertise, equipment, and facilities for producers, entrepreneurs, innovators, SMEs, government, and any one of our clients that we service.
It's like it's a one-stop shop where innovators can come and get access to our broader research team and our smart farm infrastructure that allows them to actually get out into the field, evaluate and demonstrate their technologies in a real farm setting, and get feedback from technicians and various other project members on the practicality of that technology in a real farm setting. So this is really, the proving ground for technologies that without having this proving ground, getting into the market is going to be very, very, very challenging.
Our Technology Access Center offers several services to our clients. It can be as simple as a feeding trial for Farmer Joe down the road, where they need feed efficiency or even just simply growth data on their animals and have nowhere to do that as a central testing facility. So that's something we offer to producers on a fee-for-service basis. Beyond that, we cater to other innovators, entrepreneurs, or producers in the space of applied research, where we develop an experimental design protocol and can actually execute that for them at Olds College using our feedlot, our animals, or our land base. Student mentorship is something else that we heavily focus on. That's working with students both at Olds College and beyond at other institutions on projects that they need that applied research focus, that expertise as it relates to livestock. And so coaching and mentoring with course programs and also with interns is something that we do quite a bit of, and it's definitely a mandate of ours. As well, putting on producer workshops, getting the word out there on all the great research we're doing. So hosting, coordinating, and facilitating events, conferences, and workshops, either at Olds College or with partners, is something that our center offers for producers.
We'll chat with clients at any stage of their journey and then kind of let them know where we can and help them or when to come back to us. But our sweet spot is definitely in the technology readiness level of 4 to 8. It's basically ready for field deployment, so we can do some actual field scale testing and evaluation of it and provide them with feedback or provide them with connections to other companies or vendors or technology providers that can help them. We will also work with really early stage entrepreneurs in helping them, even just explore their client base or explore what the problem really is.
Through the Olds College Center for Innovation, we have a co-chair position on the Central Alberta Regional Innovation Network, and we're actually one of 8 networks that make up the whole provincial Alberta Innovation Network. Across the province, we're covered in every corner. So that gives us access to a lot of programs and a lot of coaches and mentors that can help clients on their journey to become entrepreneurs and up to commercialization of their products.
I think I had an aha moment after starting the research project at Olds College, which was focused on creating cattle feed and gourmet mushrooms from spent beer brewers' grains. When I was working as a chef, I found that there was kind of a lack of these high-quality specialty mushrooms available. I was given a space at Olds College to develop the process and refine the systems, a 2,400 square foot warehouse. We've developed a really innovative system that's unique to our process and that helps us produce some of the best mushrooms around. The Karen industry partners, it's really wonderful the supports that they can offer, and that helps springboard it to what you see here today.
It's not a competitive space, it's a collaborative space so that we can do the best for the clients that we're working with. That's one of the strengths of having the Alberta Innovation Network, because we can get them through that initial phase. Is this feasible? Am I answering a good question that would be relevant to others? But our specialty isn't the prototype development, say. So then we can hand them over to somebody in the network to do that bit and then bring them back when they're ready to test that in farming situations.
Vibro, the company, has been able to develop auscultation devices combined with, of course, computing science and AI to be able to capture vibroacoustics emitted from our bodies, from animals, and from structure as well. So the technology has many different applications. This represents the ground zero of everything that we're going to be able to do, hopefully in Canada. We need that additional proof of concept, and we need to understand which are the best applications for the technology. Without a partner like Olds College, you wouldn't be able to really go anywhere.
Our mandate is that we don't own or retain IP. We're sort of a third-party R&D division, but we always also want to be able to talk in generalities about our learnings from a project in the classroom and with some other partners, and almost everybody is totally agreeable to that. It's a win-win because they're getting the confidential, proprietary information and data they need to advance their product, but we're getting the learnings from that, and we're being able to train the next generation of the workforce with actual real data and situations and new technologies and products.
Olds College, it's known for its great research work in agriculture in Canada. And over the years, they've proven to be in the front in livestock research, in Canada. This tech team is so wonderful. There must be a link between academics and the industry. Olds College is bridging the gap. Apart from the research result that you get from the academic articles, research and all, we have to be able to apply it in the industry, which Olds College tech team are really doing.
People from research assistant to research associate and research technician to doctorate level people are here. So at each level, there is someone to guide you. More precisely, they have different activities throughout the year. Those all events and activities are very helpful for future researchers or young researchers like us, which we want to know what's going on in other part of industry, so we can develop some linkage and develop some associations to do more better research.
Our job here is to be a resource for the livestock industry. So the tactile stimulation project with calves, when a calf is born, and one of the first reactions of the mother is to lick the calf. That's how she creates a bond, so calf is able to recognize her and vice versa. We ask the girls that were handling the calves every day to create this bond with the calf by massaging the calves. So if I touch like that, I don't feel pain because this mechanoreceptor is telling me this is actually a nice touch. We're literally showing the calves the same stimulus that the cow does at the time that she licks the animal. In this moment, in animals tends to identify yourself as something positive as well.
I think it's very important research that we're doing right now. Sheep producers are really in the low probability. We can help with the producer to increase their probability is to select the sheep by their feed efficiency. Those efficiency tests has been well established and being quite practiced in the beef industry, but for sheep it's not existing yet. Over generations, you can build a better efflux that do not need as much as feed as previously, but also your production level will be still the same, or production level can also goes up with lower feed cost. for parasite infection is quite a common problem in Canada at the moment. Animals, when they are infected by parasites, they are experiencing loss in performance, but they still look healthy.
My project is about developing a new diagnostic test for identification of parasite disease in sheep. And other part of my research is genomics, in which I want to identify those genes which are responsible for natural resistance in sheep against parasite.
After we find the biomarker, in the future research, we can design point-of-care device that producers can just use in their herd when they are handling the sheep. They just take a small blood sample, use the device and see if I need to drench this animal or not, and then they can save on the medical cost and prevent performance loss in their flocks.
Environmental sustainability is another aspect where research and work we're doing at Olds College is really having an impact on producers.
In Alberta, we're finding water is a valuable resource. So we have these feedlot runoff ponds. They're very nice to look at, and you want to use that water, but they're not good to water your livestock or your plants. Phytoremediation is what we're looking at, to remediate water quality. These are our floating islands. Each island itself is split into 2 different species of plants. In the center, they're actually made with like some PVC piping. They have a wire mesh underneath, and then they're filled with peat. We plant the islands with some native wetland plants. On this pond in particular, there's 41 islands. For producers and farmers to be able to use this water that they haven't been able to before is so important.
As a post-secondary, we have access to research funding dollars. Some of it we still have to apply to, but some we actually already hold. When a partner comes to us with the right criteria, we can say, hey, work with us at a subsidized rate because we have access to this federal funding that will support our research team. That's pretty valuable for startup companies. We aren't even using a lot of the technologies that are available to their fullest potential yet. It's mind-blowing to think where we can be in 10 years, and we're just at the starting point now. These new ag tech programs that are being offered at Olds College and other post-secondaries is going to be that much more critical because of that.
Farming personally myself, to see new technologies, new management practices, and just innovation blossoming, to be able to implement some of these often low-cost management practices to improve your bottom line. In an era where margins are so tight, I think that's important for not only the Alberta, but the Canadian livestock space. It's great to be able to support that at Olds College.
Great. So hopefully I couldn't see anything. So hopefully the audio and everything came through fine. I think that's a great video. Rather than me just, no thanks. So rather than me just doing a slideshow, I wanted to show that and give a few more perspectives, but happy to elaborate on anything that you guys just saw or to answer any questions. So
Pete?
The Alberta agriculture, of course, the farming industry, the meat industry, and that sort of stuff is under a lot of pressure right now. But what would you say are the highest level challenges that we're trying to find our way through right now?
Yeah, and you're right. There's a lot. I'd say that the 2 biggest ones now would be public perception, and so specifically, the public wants to be sure that what the food that they're eating is produced sustainably and ethically and responsibly. And in a lot of cases, we're already doing that. The industry, and not just the livestock sector, but the grains sector as well. It's just we're not very good at telling people that we're doing it that way versus the other side of the coin, where those that don't believe we are, they're a lot more vocal and better at getting an audience. And so probably the last 10, 15 years being an advocate, as we like to call it, that's something I've enjoyed doing, and just updating the public on here's what we're doing and here's the benefits to the environment, to the animals, what have you. But also we recognize here are some potential issues related to, say, beef production, and here's how we're addressing that through research or improved management practices. So I think that's been the main one. The second and obvious one is just economic feasibility. And so with the pandemic, with the drought now that much of Alberta is facing, how do we become smarter? And does that involve ag tech integration? How do we farm smarter or more efficiently to improve our bottom lines? So I'd say those are probably the two major ones right now.
And your funding is from the province or from the feds?
So we get core funding through NSERC, so federal funding, and that's to keep the lights on, pay for admin. Everything else is done through fee for service or other research revenue. Some of that's federal, some of that's provincial. A lot of it's fee for service. So it's just companies just paying us to get a return.
Well, I'll shut up now.
It's good. Good question. I guess I had a question. Is Lorna, were you in the video? Is that you? You want to say hi?
Hello. Yes, that was me.
Sweet.
I'm manager of entrepreneurship and innovation at Olds College, and as I said in the video, that means that I get to be co-chair of the Central Alberta Regional Innovation Network. So that's one of the ways I got connected with Rainforest Alberta was through that role and those conversations. And we had a meeting hosted in Central Alberta for the whole Alberta Innovation Network and our supports and partnerships in March. And one of the goals there was to increase the connection between the regional innovation networks, which of which there are 8 in the province, with the technology access centers. So luckily, Bridget helped facilitate this showcase of the technology access centers in the rainforest ecosystem to create these special lunch without lunch sessions for the tax to present to your network. So it's been pretty, I think, pretty good to get us out there and all of us better connected. So thanks for the opportunity.
Sweet. Yeah. I mean, I've really enjoyed it. I guess that's always like the hardest thing I struggle with is trying to keep my pulse on what's going on, because there's so many cool like schools and projects and like different things. And so yeah, I think having like this kind of like little mini series almost on it just kind of like brings it back in your mind, like, oh, this is actually like happening in our province and people are doing cool stuff. Yeah, I guess, is there any other questions? Feel free to unmute and ask it verbally, or you can just put in the chat and I can read it.
I'd appreciate knowing how you guys felt about the video. You're the first eyes on it besides Sean and I. So
oh yeah,
it was just pulled together.
It's exclusive. You should have sold that more, you know.
Sold
first
it.
Viewing.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Does it do a good job of telling you who we are and what we do? And yeah,
I thought it was well done. It was sharp, good imagery, interesting. So yeah, I thought it was well done. You can run with that.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Pete. The video was awesome. I guess like the only critique I could have was that some of the audio had like a little bit of wind noise in it, which is always a struggle when you're trying to record things outside. And I don't know, I guess I always just get distracted by it because I've done some of my own recordings and I'm always like, there's that little like whoosh.
I'll blame that on Lorna because she wanted the shot with the wind going through her hair.
Yeah.
So we had to put up with it.
You're going to say that. I actually had a fan on me.
Yeah, you had a fan. Yeah, you had the guy just holding the fan. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, mortified. Yeah.
I'd be keen to know, as we look around the world for other meat producing nations, just kind of where do we rank in terms of our safety in like real data as opposed to the political stuff that happens when you're trying to do trade agreements outside of the country.
Sure. So data is in where do we rank in terms of exports or production or
Quality.
safe food trade
Data
safety?
quality. Yeah, how are we for producing a quality?
Very strong. So Canada is viewed as one of the top in terms of top producing countries in the world for quality, but also safety, so traceability. And our system is probably second to none in terms of traceability. Producers hated it to begin with because after BSE, it was everyone needs to be tagged so we know where every animal's coming from anytime, and that slowly became the norm, and now it's the norm, and a model that's looked at internationally, which we need to because we export most of our beef. We're the top 10, I think, or maybe 11th biggest producer in the world for beef, but we're much higher than that in terms of total exports. So we produce most of what we export most of what we produce. But we've done a good job, and Canada is seen as a producer of high quality meat in the world.
And I didn't see any chickens, but I can't remember. So are we poultry, bovine, and pork, and lamb? I guess everything else, right?
So our center only focuses on beef and sheep.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's simply because
Pork.
no, and that's simply because when we started and got funding back in 2016, we only had a beef herd and a sheep flock, and it didn't make sense to add on species that we didn't have at that time.
Yes, we have a question in the chat.
Is there an equivalent for those things? Poultry, pork, or
not yet. There is a facility in Quebec that does quite a bit of dairy work, a Technology Access Center, or Sept. Yeah, we're the livestock, and there's really no other one for swine or poultry.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
But I would
There's an
say
innovation
there are,
space.
sorry, I was just going to say there are supports for those industries that aren't covered at our TAC that just don't fall under the umbrella of the Technology Access Center. So the poultry improvements work that goes on at the U of A and things like that are well entrenched in Alberta.
Okay. And of course, precision feeding and all those fun, wonderful things kind of cross multiple disciplines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so those ones might fall into our wheelhouse as long as they relate to beef or sheep. Yeah.
Okay, now I'll shut up.
All right. I was just going to ask a question from the chat. Does the TAC do any original research, or does it just kind of like bring in projects and help them?
Right, great question. So yes, we do. So obviously fee for service, that's simply we provide a service, producer or company pays us. Applied research, a company may approach us with an idea or a concept, and we help them apply for funding, and then that work can be done at Olds College. But original research, so we have a growing team of I guess quite a highly qualified technical research focus. So those are PhDs or masters in all roles, from technicians, research associates to research scientists. And there's a lot of good ideas that come out of our group. And that definitely is something that we act on if there's an industry demand. If the industry warrants it, we won't just do things for fun or because they sound cool. But if the industry demands it and it's something we've come up with internally, then yes, we'll apply for provincial or federal dollars to try to do that here and then showcase the results to the industry.
Sweet. And yeah, I guess another question I'm kind of going to expand is, like, we as like IT people and like entrepreneur space, how can we contribute to your growth? Like, what's the best way we can kind of help you guys out?
So yeah, good question. I'll answer, and then maybe I'll let Lauren answer. But there's often for some companies anyways, a gap between their idea or their concept to how it would be applied in a real world setting, i.e. on a farm. That can be anything from data management softwares to sensors and how they're all integrated, We have pretty good expertise on the animal science side and nutrition, genetics, all that, but when it comes to a tech, so it's the back end work. So to get the data that's being collected to apply to what we're doing, we have some internal expertise within the college, but that's where a company or knowing that resource may be able to help us in the future to connect with, say, company X to say, well, they support this type of IT integration. They can be someone we loop in to provide that support. Some companies have that when they come to us. Most often they don't. And so we can give our best advisory on how that innovation can be applied to beef or sheep production. But then we don't have that. We can't take it the next step. So we can only rely on the expertise that we have. So knowing that capacity externally that we can draw on, that would be a benefit.
Yeah, I would just echo exactly what you said, Sean. It's part of the networking, and one thing that we can do when clients come to us is help them understand who else is working in the same space, or maybe access resources that they haven't been able to access on their own to the point where they come to us. So if it's an IT need that they have, or maybe some financial coaching on the entrepreneur business growth side, we can link them with others. So being that point of connection and helping them fill in the gaps that they identify, or that we help them identify through the research. We don't, like Sean said, we don't have to be the experts in everything, but it's good to be able to not just say, oh, sorry, we can't help there. If we're more aware of what's in the ecosystem, then we can support our clients even better, more effectively.
Sweet. It's great answer. I love that. Yeah, I feel like that's always kind of like one of the most important things, just having that network of, like, you know, you might not be the expert on it, but you know a guy that can get it done. And yeah. Monica, do you have a question?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was just wondering for if you have seen any increase or any interest in like microfarming, such as, you know, like crickets and what they call alternative proteins coming your way.
Great question. So we haven't, but maybe that's because maybe they see us as a competitor. So I should take a step back. So my former life and some of the roles I've had, I have looked at insects as not only human food, but also for animal feed. So there are some synergies there that exist. We're not seeing it in Canada as much yet. There are a few companies that are growing mealworms and other protein sources that are being consumed by humans. They're being consumed by animals and then by humans. So, but if you go to Europe, it's a huge industry. So big, in fact, that they have animal rights that are applied to insects, which by definition doesn't really make sense. But yeah, it's in the UK or in the EU and even in Asia, it's becoming quite a big thing. So I see it as a benefit to the livestock industry. We can have a sustainable, low footprint source of protein or fats for the livestock industry, then that's great. That's removing the dependency on traditional grains and other protein byproducts. But we haven't done anything yet at Olds College in that space.
And a little bit adjacent to that, on the entrepreneur side of things, we have had a client come through some of our channels through the Central Alberta Regional Innovation Network. It was actually an Olds College student that's developing a family business related to crickets. And so far, I think they're just in the human consumption as target market. But yeah, what a neat idea to use it for livestock feed. I should suggest it to them as a growth opportunity.
Thank you, guys.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for the presentation. The video was awesome, and yeah, thanks for answering all our questions. I guess if anybody needs to drop off, now's the time to do it. I'm gonna pop open some breakup rooms and yeah, kind of have a little meet and greet time that we do at Lunch Without Lunch, and then after that, I'll bring everybody back and we'll have community announcements, and people can move on with their day.
CA, and find us on the research tab. And that gives not only my information, but Lorna's and everyone else's. Typically, if it's a client or prospect, we'll have them fill out a client intake form, and then that'll be the process for getting in touch with them. But if there's just questions ahead of time, they can email them directly.
Sweet. Just stealing that URL.
And I threw my LinkedIn into the chat there.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So I guess community announcement time. So I'm going to go first because I don't know. I feel like it. So I guess the first thing is check out the Libby podcast. So it's the Leaders, Innovators, and Big Ideas podcast that's supported by Rainforest. I've actually had the privilege of being a host on it a couple times, and it's a really fun podcast. It's a very kind of relaxed setting, and we just talk to cool people doing cool stuff in the tech innovation space. So yeah, I'm gonna throw a link for that in here, and I guess there's a lot of stuff happening in the tech space, and it's always tricky to kind of figure out what events are going on and what's happening. And the way I like to kind of keep track of everything and organize a little bit is follow. It's called In the Know YYC. It's a little like place where you can figure out some of the stuff that's happening. It doesn't include everything, but it's got lots of different events. And yeah, I guess. Is there anybody else with community announcements? Pete?
If you guys are interested, on October the 19th, Thriving Minds is providing lunch, and more importantly, they're providing mental health advice for people that are entrepreneurs. So it's a session that's an hour and a half long, and I think it would be great because being an entrepreneur takes resilience and a good mind, and they've got some fantastic ideas. It's a collective that's getting together to provide. It's free, and there's actually going to be food served. So October the 19th, I'll get an actual invite posted into the site here, but that's coming up. I don't have it yet. But it's on the 19th, and it's from noon till 1:30, and it's up at the Social Innovation Hub, and we're providing food.
Sweet. Free food. I can't really go wrong. Bridget, do you want to go next?
Hey everybody. Thank you, Peyton, for guest hosting today. It's very refreshing and makes me think if anybody else wants a kick at the can to reach out and let us know, because why not? And thanks to Olds College for joining us today and rounding out the TAC, call it the TAC tour. I just wanted to make mention of a lobby fest that's going on this week. So throughout the various lobbies in the downtown, with tons of engaged activities to participate in. I am in my car, so I don't have the link, but if you're in our Slack channel, there is a coupon code to have, I think, free ticket to the party that winds it all up on Friday night. So check that out in our Slack. And if you want to host an event for Innovation Week, which is being held mid-November this year, you have until Monday to submit your event. So please check out the Platform Calgary website. Google Platform Calgary Innovation Week. You'll find the form quite easily. Sorry, I can't provide it right now, but those are the two kind of burning ones. But as you said, In the Know or Platform also has a community calendar, so check them out because things are really ramping up for the fall. Thanks all.